Tessa from Mama's Geeky here. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel.
Yeah, thank you. Daddy's geeky too.
Yes, woohoo! My first question for both of you, I want to know what attracted you guys to the role of SpongeBob.
Well, I mean, I guess I'll go first, just in chronological order. But for me, it was just Steve Hillenburg showed me the pitch for the show, and I knew him from a previous cartoon that we had both been employed on, and then now he was pitching his own show, stepping out, for SpongeBob, his first show idea, and it just knocked me out immediately. Like I just fell in love with it, and I always say, when you're an actor like me and Ethan, you're just always auditioning for stuff that you're hoping you'll get, and then some of it you get, and a lot of it you don't. It's just how the business goes, and you build up this rhino skin for the stuff you didn't get, But SpongeBob was one of the few times where I looked at something and I just knew that if I didn't play this guy, portray this character, it would be tragic for me personally. Like I would never, I really wanted to play him. And I'm like, I understand him. I gotta be him, and usually you gotta be a little more business-like. It's like being a cop or something, you can't get totally involved in all the cases, you know what I mean? Or you'll lose your mind. So that was what attracted me, was really just the characters, the stories, the look of it, just Steve's vision, to put it short,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I guess the answer for me is a little bit the same, but only because it was true for Tom, which is like, I watched the show and I fell in love with the humor. And actually, I mean, more than that, it was sort of definitive for me and my friends. Like, it became the sense of humor that connected us all together and that we grew up with. So the fact that Tom was so inspired by Stephen Hillenburg's work, like, at the get-go, seeped through for all of the years of making it until I got to sort of do my own interpretation. And that was really exciting for me. And also, speaking of the rhino thick skin, I never thought in a million years I was going to get it off of this audition. It was like it was my first professional audition. I was a college student, and they had seen me audition for like a summer program, and they were like, you actually, like, you might have the right shape. So, like, would you want to come in? Which is but a blessing and also just so hurtful. You
might have the right shape. That's like when they tell me I have a face made for voiceover. Yeah.
Well, look for someone who's square with yeah. So, I mean, I just sort of fell in love with the physical comedy of it all. And there's this like really fun sort of chicken or the egg thing happening, which is that I think the comedy in the show is so like rooted in this silent film sort of slapstick.
And you love that stuff.
I'm obsessed with it. And so to be able to like look at the cartoon and see how was it inspired by silent film, and how can I sort of take that and sort of like reverse engineer it or something, was incredibly fun. And so, let's say that I had the choice to pick playing the role, that would be why I picked it. But really, I'm just really grateful it picked me.
But it's interesting you mentioned that, Ethan. Like, I know about your love for like silent comedy and old film comedy and stuff like that, just like the bedrock of everything, which a lot of people, even my age, don't know about, let alone your age, and I think, knowing Steve like I did, and his guys like I do, that was a big part of them too. So now I'm seeing that love of that stuff is kind of like the through line through Steve getting this idea and drawing it in a notebook, and to the pitch, to the series, to the Broadway show, to Ethan, and it's that's kind of amazing. It's really all about those roots. It's like comedy blues.
Totally. And it's one of the things that when he came to like our rehearsals and things early on, he sort of pointed out, which was super helpful.
Yeah. He was very articulate, like very, very soft-spoken, but very definitive and about what he saw and what he wanted things to be, So very helpful guy and personality type, in that he lets the artist do what they, he picks you because he likes what you're doing, and then he kind of lets you do that. But he also offers very helpful parameters, you know, that, but not too many of them where it would box you in. No pun intended. You are the right shape, by the way.
Well, thank you guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Tessa. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
Hi, Geeky Amanda.
Lots of geeks here today.
Hey, you can look what's behind me.
You're
preaching to the choir.
Look. Oh, wait, right.
Oh yeah.
Well, my question is, what were the most challenging parts of bringing animated characters to the stage?
Yeah.
Well, I would say that our worry, not really our worry because the cast worry really, but I know Steve and some of the creatives were, the conversations I was hearing as this was just being pitched in the planning stages were, does this really need to exist? You know what I mean? Will this, Steve thought very, he didn't think like a business guy. He wasn't a profit guy. Like, oh, this will be an ancillary income, he wasn't that kind of person. So, corporations think like that, but Steve wasn't a corporation. So he was like, does this really need to exist? Why are they going to, what if it's really bad and it's actually damaging to this thing that I built so carefully? And, and I think once he met with Tina Landau and the people that were making the show and, all along the line, just, the visually and musically and cast wise, Ethan and his cohorts who are all fantastic. I saw the worry be replaced by intense and enthusiasm by Steve and the guys that he works the closest with, Mark Ceccarelli and Vince Waller. And once they stopped worrying, I stopped worrying. I'm like, if Steve's not worried, this is going to be, if Steve thinks this might be pretty good, it's going to be awesome. So Ethan, sorry to talk so long.
No, that's so good. I think that skepticism was like the thing that was the hardest about it, and it was also the thing that made it good. Was I know I fully embrace and understand skepticism around taking a cartoon and putting it on stage. Like I felt it too, but so did Tina, who did the stage show. And I'm not going to tell her own stories for her, but she does tell some great stories about like the first time that she heard about it and how reticent she was to pitch the show until she had an epiphany, which was like, oh, we could do this really cool. Like we could make sure to keep the spirit of SpongeBob and not do an arena show, not do foam costumes, but try to like figure out how to humanize these characters in terms of like the physicality. And so the first workshop that we did in development was just 2 weeks. There was no script. There was no music. It was just, let's show up and take gags from the show and see how we could do them with our bodies.
Cool.
Yeah, it was amazing.
I never heard that.
Oh, it was so cool. Tommy would have loved it. It was
I hope somebody was filming.
I'm sure Tina was, but she won't let anyone see it.
So much for the DVD extra.
I know.
I was going to say bonus material.
I wish. I mean, it was really amazing things. She would just be like, all right, you guys, groups of 3, you have 15 minutes to show what it looks like if gravity stops working. And
wow, it's like boot camp.
It was like boot camp. No, exactly. And like we were getting these skills together that we could just like weave together. So that skepticism that was like at the core of it was like, how do we make this like right? Was the challenge, but also the opportunity of it. And it became so fun to just mess around.
Yeah. Once they came back and they started to get, it was like in stages where Steve and his top guys were like skeptical, like you said, Ethan, and then like kind of curious, and then kind of like kind of their confidence. I saw their confidence level rising, and then, like I said, then once it turned into full blown, this is really cool, this is going to be great, I love this enthusiasm. It was such a relief for me, not that I have any say in it at all, but just as being a part of the whole SpongeBob world construct, it was really cool. And I think I guess privately, my thoughts at the time were, because I never, like SpongeBob, I always want to be positive and not be a Debbie Downer, So I was always like, just mathematically speaking to myself, there's a lot more ways for this to go wrong than to go right. You know what I mean? Like just you know what I mean? Like the number of ways it could be like some Heaven's Gate debacle are legion. And but it's almost like getting it right is almost like a sharpshooter. Like, it's almost like shooting an arrow off of somebody's, an apple off of somebody's head with an arrow or something. It's like the Star Wars, shaft, air shaft. So, and Tina and these guys totally did that, against the odds. They blew up the Death Star of potential failure and embarrassment.
Definitely. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
You bet. My pleasure, Amanda. Hi, Linda Lee.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Great to see you. I love all your stuff behind you.
Oh, thank you. It's my dad's room.
Oh, nerd. Tell your dad he's a nerd.
Okay, you're a nerd.
What?
In each of your SpongeBob voices, can you tell us or sing us why people are going to love SpongeBob the Musical on DVD?
Oh my gosh, singing. I better leave that to Ethan.
Oh no.
Punt.
How am I going to sing this?
Well, I think that everyone is going to love the SpongeBob Musical on DVD because it's the best day ever and you can watch it over and over and over. Just in case you didn't get a chance to see it on Broadway. Just in case the touring company was canceled by pandemic before it came to your town. This is a way to watch SpongeBob Broadway Musical over and over and over and over and over and over and over in the privacy of your, take it, Gary, right home.
That was amazing.
Too soon? Too much?
No.
Never.
So going right into that, aside from an amazing musical like SpongeBob, what are some other great ways to get kids excited about theater and the arts like this?
Oh, I think that's a really good question. I think from my point of view, the best way to get kids excited about theater and the arts is a combination of accessibility to see it. It's not easy to fly from anywhere in the world to New York, especially nowadays when theater is harder and harder to make live. So accessibility in terms of access on TV and streamers and all of that. But then also arts education in schools. For me, getting to be in a theater class or having theater be part of my curriculum in elementary school is what started the line of really loving it and being passionate about it and using it as a way to explore not just my love of performing, but my love of writing and reading and applying math and set building as the arts education in high school grew. So I think that, in short, it's the combination of accessibility and arts funding.
Yeah, great point, Ethan. And you're right. Like, it has to be there for kids to find. And then I love what you said about how, one thing leads to another. It's not, it sounds like whatever draws somebody into something initially, it's not, for you, it went way beyond look at me, where you said it was, where it was like writing and which you do and math and set building. And like, there's so many ways to be involved in that world, even if you're not an out front kind of person, like being a voiceover person is kind of like, for me, the perfect combination of being out there, but not out there, like I call it the shy show off, like if I had a personality, it would be the guy who wants to show off, but he's like a little cowardly about it. So it's, it has to be there. And of course, with what's going on now and Zoom and everything, it's probably a little harder to do, but also takes on even greater importance. I know I have a 17-year-old daughter that's doing Zoom high school in the room right next door to me right now. And her Play Pro class, drama class, is the bright spot in her day. Like those kids and that tribe that she found in that world, which, you know, we did too, it really is life-changing. I mean, it kind of changes your whole life, no matter what you go on to do, even if you don't go on to do anything in show business or whatever. But you know, it's just really useful no matter what you wind up doing.
Hey,
guys.
How's it going? Nice background.
Good. Thanks. It's better than my bedroom because, like you said, my kids are on Zoom, so like I have to find a corner that's free in my house.
Yeah, this is a virtual background of a boring middle-aged guy's office. It's not my real office.
No, that's fine. You should see all my geeky stuff, but my husband's in my office. So, anyways.
Preach it. Yeah, I know. It's you're describing my life. You're describing my life. So, yeah.
So it's so exciting to talk to you both. Tom, you like literally have voiced my childhood, I'm sure, as a lot of people that are on this call right now. What is it like, you know, you made so many memories for me, like my sister and now my kids.
Cool.
Like, what is it like, you know, you're still doing this character and you're making memories now for a whole new generation.
Yeah.
And then Ethan, you're stepping into this role and also making memories for kids in a whole different way for SpongeBob. So what is that like for you guys?
Well, I gotta say, you know, yeah, look, we're still making episodes. Like I'm on Zoom doing SpongeBob recording or directing the other actors, either or, three days a week. You know, even during pandemic. So SpongeBob is still a huge part of my life, and it's been 20 some odd years like that. And really, you ask what it's like. I mean, I just look at it as this fantastic gift that. It's not even like an opportunity, like it's more like a gift, you know. It's just you know, to play a character that's so fun and that you know, that I have so much respect for the creator of and the coworkers that I work with on it, and that it struck a chord as it turns out, multi-generationally. You know, it's just wow. I'm in a really rarefied demographic, you know, like how many actors get to play a character for that long and still love it, like where it's not a burden. It's like, oh, I can't wait to not be playing this guy anymore. It's you know, I love SpongeBob, you know, and it's the length of time it's gone on feels like bonus rounds on a game show, you know, like I feel like I keep winning more washing machines, you know. It's great. So yeah, so that's how it feels to me. And then one thing, before Ethan comes in, it's one thing we always try to remember while we're making the shows is that the episode we're making right now after 20 years might very well be somebody's first exposure to SpongeBob. Like it might be the first episode some kid watches, or somebody goes, you know, I never watched the show, but I tuned this in and it was pretty fun. And then I went back and watched all of them. And the Broadway show and Ethan's performance as SpongeBob is the first exposure to like exposure for a lot of people, that parents and kids alike, that didn't see the cartoon before they saw the Broadway show. You know, I have talked to a lot of those people. So, you know, Ethan's the on-ramp to SpongeBob for a lot of people as well.
Yeah, it definitely feels like a slightly different scale. But you know, like I think that, I mean, you know, he's sitting right here, so it's a little hard to talk about him as though he's not. But Tom's influence is just like, so, oh yeah, great, thank you. His influence is just like so huge and amazing as SpongeBob, but just like as a voice of comedy. And I think that is like a really special thing to be in the orbit of, you know, and to be in his orbit. And so I feel really lucky to just be this close, you know. It's a really, really amazing thing. And then I do think that there's an element of being the on-ramp for SpongeBob for some people, but I think more so while we were running, and now that we're, you know, you can get the show on DVD, and like that is an on-ramp for people to Broadway. And I think that that's a really exciting thing that feels like, in some ways it feels like a big responsibility, but I also feel really proud of the work that we've done. So I feel really confident in it, you know, like it's a really cool way to bring people from the SpongeBob world into the Broadway world, which is a community that I think is really beautiful and thriving. And so like to be a part of that crossover feels particularly special.
Yeah, agreed on all points, Ethan, man. It's multiple on-ramps. You're right. I mean, you know, this, like you said, on ramp to Broadway, that there's that aspect as well.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Hi guys.
Hi, Amy.
So I have to talk about the music. The music in the show is amazing, and what blows my mind are all of the huge big name artists who contributed music to the show. I mean, David Bowie, Cyndi Lauper, John Legend, Tom Kenny. And I just want to know how involved some of the artists were in the production.
Wow. Well, Ethan could probably answer that better than me, because it's part of the Broadway construct. You know, I know that with Best Day Ever, that was just a song that my songwriting partner and I, Andy Paley, wrote. Really, not just for ourselves. You know, way back in the 2000s, early 2000s, because we wanted to write a song that was sort of like encapsulated SpongeBob's philosophy and way of looking at the world, kind of like, you know, like a loving spoonful. Do you believe in magic? You know, kind of like that, you know, like we're like, that's what it should be. So, and then that song kind of kept winding up in different places. It wound up in an episode of the show. It wound up over the closing credits of the first SpongeBob movie. It wound up, you know, in theme park shows and commercials, and then it wound up getting used in the Broadway show. So that was how that song wound up in there. But Ethan, you probably have more insight into the musical cherry picking of Tina and everybody.
You know, I have a little bit more insight, maybe, just because I remember the songs as they rolled in. You know, I started working on it before there was any music. And then, although I will say that in the first workshop that we did, we learned Best Day Ever. I played it on ukulele and guitar. And,
nice.
You know, Danny was playing trombone, and, you know, everyone was just like, we didn't have a, you know, it was just this great sort of weird band, and all of the music was, all the drums were done by Foley. It was awesome. But, you know, I think what was really cool about it was I remember talking about the music before any of the artists gave songs, and Tina Landau, who directed the show and conceived of the stage production, was saying, you know, like, SpongeBob has the best, like, scores. Like, there's always these amazing songs curated for the SpongeBob movies and for, you know, all of these things. She's like, you know, Wilco, Weezer, Ween, anything else with a W that you can name, you know, those are the ones. So she was like intent on finding cool artists who also were right for the moment. And they were really specifically picked for those moments. Like, it was, you know, we knew that there was going to be a really beautiful, soulful sort of love, platonic love ballad between SpongeBob and Patrick at I Guess I Miss You. We knew that there was going to be, you know, the BFF was going to be called BFF. You know, all these things were sort of known.
That father-daughter song between Mr. Krabs and Pearl, right? Like you guys knew where those pins were stuck in the musical bulletin board.
Exactly.
Well, I will say Steve was a big music guy too. Steve Hillenburg was a big music guy, and like listened to a lot of music, had really good taste in music, or maybe the same bad taste that I do. I don't know. Whenever somebody has the same taste you do, you think, you go, they have good taste, but maybe we just both had crappy taste. I don't think so, but he, you know, him and I would go to see music shows a lot, you know, especially in the early days of SpongeBob before it got so crazy for him. Including Bowie, like early on, like you know, 2000, you know, him and I go to see Bowie, you know, so I think that was really important to him as well, and I think the music chosen for the show and the various styles and stuff kind of does reflect that panoply, that cornucopia of styles. You know, Steve was very a Catholic, small C Catholic in his taste in music. You know,
and I think
he liked a lot of different stuff.
To speak again to like Steve's influence on it, when all of these artists were like first choice artists, they reached out to them thinking like, you know, they're not going to be available. Like, John Legend's not going to be able to do this. And everyone said yes, because they love SpongeBob and they love the ethos of SpongeBob and they wanted to be a part of it. And so everyone wrote original songs. You know, it was like this really amazing, like, show of love for the show, and I think it really shines through. I think every song is pretty freaking great.
Yeah, and that's a powerful, you know, very useful, I should say, aspect of SpongeBob, is that it is something that people kind of want to work on and be adjacent to, so it's never really, you never really have to like twist anybody's arm super hard to do something on SpongeBob. They like SpongeBob as a property or whatever just enjoys really goodwill, a lot of goodwill out there in the world. So that's very helpful.
Thank you so much.
Collaboration wise. Thanks so much, Amy.
Right. Well, I'm back. Hi guys. Okay, I'll be quick.
Yeah.
I want to know, Ethan, were you intimidated at all to like take on the role of SpongeBob? He's so iconic and amazing, thanks to Tom.
Oh my God, dreadfully so. Yeah, it was so intimidating, but it was also, I think it was the thing that was really liberating pretty quickly was that Tina was quick to say, like, it's got to be Ethan's version of SpongeBob. Don't do an impression of Tom, because you're never going to be Tom SpongeBob. You're never going to be the cartoon SpongeBob. What you want to do is, like, make it part of you, and, like, just when you talk, you're talking, and it's you. And so putting my own interpretation on it was, like, really freeing, and also I think made it feel more truthful and honest and real.
Yes.
Also, Ethan, I think maybe your background as an athlete might have something to do with that too. Like, you know what I mean? Like just getting in and doing it, you know what I mean? Like just getting in there and get there in the ring and do your best, you know?
Yeah, get it in your body and the rest will follow, is sort of.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys.
Hi. I'll be quick too. So I want to know, you're bringing this to the a DVD out next month on stage. Did you have to do any special, taping or voice overs or anything for the DVD?
Well, I mean, when we were filming it, when we were filming the production, Tom and I did a bunch of stuff. A bunch of other cast members did like I don't know what's going to be on it, to be honest. So
yeah, I don't either.
Maybe not.
I haven't got my copy yet.
Yeah, me neither. So I probably shouldn't answer this, but we did do some fun other stuff like around the theater with Patchy and the cast, and so that was pretty great.
Yeah, because it was aired as a special on Nickelodeon first, so there were like some framing devices and kind of leading up to the broadcast kind of stuff between Patchy the Pirate, the world's biggest SpongeBob fan, and the cast of the Broadway show. So I don't know if any of that made it onto the DVD, but I will say, I think I can say this, is that the Broadway show was never filmed when it was happening. So it had to be remounted and filmed for this special / DVD. So that was definitely some special stuff that had to be done.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm going to be looking out for your little stuff on maybe a bonus.
Yeah, I hope.
I'm
sure it's on YouTube if it's not on the DVD.
Hi. So Tom, for this special recorded version of the musical, you got to play Patchy the Pirate on stage. So what was that experience like to go from behind the microphone voicing the character to being the character for this production?
Well, it was fun. I'm usually Patchy on the show, but usually Patchy hosts like holiday specials and stuff. So it's usually just Patchy talking directly to the camera. He doesn't really interact with SpongeBob, the cartoon character much. They're in two separate worlds. Yeah. That was a Steve Hillenburg rule. But for me, like I'm not a stage actor. I never was. So, and having seen the show on Broadway a couple of times, it was really intimidating to go, these guys are like the pro-iest of the pros and going and basically I felt like I was stepping into something that I didn't really totally know how to do. But I guess like Ethan was talking about with the last questioner when he got the part, when you're in an unfamiliar situation, you just want to make it yours and do the best that you can do. Cause there was a Patchy in the Broadway show originally that played by somebody who wasn't me, who did a great job. So yeah, you just get in there and try your best and hope it goes okay. That's kind of my whole approach to life.
Thank you. Have a nice
Thanks,
day.
Linda Lee.
So SpongeBob has been a cartoon. He's been movies. He's a blimp in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Now he's on stage. Where do you guys see SpongeBob going next?
Well, the SpongeBob 20 season chip that is implanted directly into your medulla and plays nonstop on a loop, like a fun Clockwork Orange, like a Clockwork Pineapple, is the next step. We're working on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's right. Like, we've already got the blimp, so I think the next step is a projector mounted on the moon so that it can be just above the clouds. It's coming down. You can just be like, oh, I'm about to miss SpongeBob. Oh, no, like, just watch it above us. Yeah, like ozone layer.
I love it.
A little porous.
Love it.
Yeah,
Love
and
it.
since the ozone layer's not there anymore, it gives us a clearer view.
Right, so it's something that's good for the Earth.
That's gone.
I like it. I like it.
Speaking of which, thanks for using sustainable bamboo in your background.
Yes.
Hi,
So,
Megan.
Ethan, I'm dying to know, was there a learning curve to get SpongeBob's laugh down? And Tom, did you offer some direction?
Well, like Ethan was saying, the cartoon SpongeBob and Broadway SpongeBob were necessarily different from each other, and the way that I do the laugh, which is that's sort of not an option when you got to be doing all the choreography and stuff that Ethan was doing. So Ethan pretty much put his own spin on all things SpongeBob, including the laugh.
Yeah, I feel like the first thing that I realized was I couldn't do this thing, so I had to figure out how to use vibrato or something. It's just a little tighter. But
I can't do
learning
that.
curve. Woof! There was a learning curve. When I auditioned for the part originally, I was way too intimidated to try and do this thing that was so iconic and recognizable. So I just showed up and I did a ha, some version of it. It was terrible. And
I'll deal with the laugh thing later.
Yeah.
After I book the part, after I book the part, I'll deal with the laugh.
And the director was like, okay, great work on most of the audition. Why don't you come back and do the laugh better? It's important. So I started then, and it was it was just sort of years of, also, I mean, just to speak to the thing that we were talking about before, it was just years of okay, this sounds like the laugh, but it doesn't seem like I'm laughing. Let's figure out how to make it feel natural and me and whatever, and all of that sort of actor-y stuff.
Yeah.
But with the laugh.
I know there's definite science behind all this stuff. You know what I mean? Like people oftentimes don't realize that. You know what I mean? That there's actually all this kind of math and kind of figure, test tubes and mental test tubes. Figuring things out of how do I make this noise or put forth this physicality, on stage, or how do you do that? And I think the Broadway show did such a great job with overcoming physics.
I mean, Tina would even say 10% more or 30% less. It was really was we were trying to dial in,
Thank you.
Hi again. Okay, so as somebody who has maybe one funny voice that I don't even do that well, I'm always blown away by people who are great at voices. But especially somebody like you, Tom, who is so prolific and does so many well-known voices. How do you keep them all straight?
Keeping them straight is easier than just kind of finding new stuff for your voice to do. I mean, I love auditioning. I audition every day, right here in this room with this microphone here. And I tell my agent, send me everything, the straightest, most boring stuff to the craziest, member FDIC to the craziest cartoons you've ever heard in your life, because I like doing it all and just figuring it out. And that's the fun part. It's really all I ever wanted to do. I never, being a cartoon voice guy was my dream job as a kid. It's not something I arrived at after wow, I just wound up here, which a lot of voiceover people did. They were doing other stuff and then they go, wow, voiceover is cool. Maybe I'll just stay here. I was always trying to claw my way into voiceover, and it was the toughest nut for me to crack, harder than on camera and stand up and writing, getting my nose under that voiceover tent was took for forever seemingly, so that, I'm just glad to be doing it. So I like thinking up all those different voices. That's fun. And then keeping them straight is the voiceover director's job. I'll let them do that.
That's it. Well, thank you.
Thanks.